because there's a component within you that I vibrate to, and a component within me you vibrate to. But we don't transgress the borders that maintains the integrity of that polarity. Once one crosses the border, then the equilibrium of the scale is gone. Now nature does her best to try to bring equilibrium back. And they talk about, homosexual marriage should be equal to heterosexual marriage. Why? Well, because, it's the right thing to do. Well, there's one thing that a homosexual marriage can't do. And Brother Jay gave this to me. There is one thing that a homosexual marriage cannot do, and that is produce children.
A lot of homosexuals are adopting black children too.
Exactly. And guess what them little boys are going to be?
Right.
Gay. Or it's going to be all right to have gay friends and all right to practice gay. In fact, if you remember correctly, I read off to you from my wounded womb what one of the main planks of the Feminist Manifesto was to destroy the family and to make sure that humanity reverted back to its polymorphous perversity. Remember I said that. And that's exactly what is happening. Sign of the times. Okay? All right, we're still off of the metaphysics. Back on it. All right. We have a little short time to go. We'll save another 20 minutes to half hour. Okay. Anybody got to go to church tomorrow? I don't want to keep you. All righty now.
We're in church right now?
Huh?
We're in church right now?
Oh, we in church. Good morning. Reality, baby. Okay. Now, if reality, as we were speaking, if reality is an interpretative language, then that means for us to change our reality, we need to see or examine the language we use to define ourselves. How do you speak to someone? What do you say to them that conveys an impression of you? How do you accept what they say to you? And how do you allow them to change how you feel about yourself in relationship to them and the rest of the world? This is what we do with our words every day to children, to friends, to others around us. We argue, all because of what we think we lack. English is the language of lack. It can be a language used to help you to evolve out of your condition if we put the right attention to the words necessary to do that. But as it stands right now, it is an attack language. And it is used to destroy people's good feelings about themselves, their higher natures, and it is used to conduct fear. I mean to bring fear constantly, to make it, to keep you overloaded with that so that your kidneys and your adrenals are constantly kicking defensive chemistries into your body. And once they stay there, they turn into disease because you're not using them, you see. So the language we use and the syntax by which we define and we give form and taste, substance, smell, feeling to reality, that's what creates our conditions inside and out. And from the time that we start learning to speak the language, the first word that a 2-year-old learns after it learns the language sufficiently enough to communicate, the one it uses most often at that age is what? No. 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 That is his or her way of defining his space. Oh, but you see, if you don't allow at least a time for him to have his space, then you're conditioning that child to become accustomed to your space. You see, you're forcing that child to become more amenable for repression and doing time.
Is that also a form of rebellion?
Well, it's not a form of rebellion more than a form of the personality trying to form a distinction from what is his or her surroundings. Remember, he has no say in his surroundings, and all he is essentially being handed off to everybody. You got to sleep, you got to do this, you got to do that. Once he understands how language affects his environment, he uses that in order to set the structures for his own perception. Because he's a little man that's frustrated because his little body is limiting what he feels his potential is. He doesn't know what it is yet, but it only comes out as this anger or this frustration.
The reason why I ask that question is because I see little babies almost fight their parents now.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I don't even know, but
yeah.
they be hitting them and
yeah, well, that's because the parent. It is the parent.
Okay.
It is the way that I've watched this pregnant girl walking into the movie to see Jason.
Yeah, that's true. Right. Effect on the mind of the child.
That's madness. That's madness. Women in the ancient days, when they carried the seed, sequestered themselves from all stress and influences. That child was in peace. That's why when the white man came, he could not understand why little native children never cried. Or if they did, it was like, you can't even hear children crying. They had the same kind of look that little baby that was up here was here.
Yeah.
Just peaceful,
Right.
smiles on their face constantly. You see?
Fear. No fear.
No, that's it. Milk on tap constantly. I mean, he was in heaven. Yes, brother.
Yeah, I was going to say, reference to what you said about the sister going in to see Jason. Like the doctors say, if you get too depressed, see, that's negative energy. And what happens is either you can lose that baby or it'll come out deformed.
Yeah.
So you got to put as much positive energy in yourself as you could so that
Right.
the baby can, become born normal.
Oh, yes. Well, exactly why the distractions are there to deform your child from in the womb. What's his name? Fritz Springmeier, who they locked up, by the way, wrote on the Illuminati codes and Illuminati mind control. And he has a section that I have that someplace packed away called How to Make a Homosexual. From the womb. They can do that. They can create geniuses in the womb. They know how to do that because they know how our ancestors did it. They can mind control you by moving the sutures on your skull. They do that when they want to get rid of somebody and they want to cause somebody to mind control. They cause an accident or they wound them or shoot them. And then they get them in the hospital. And then the Illuminati knows through the Chinese, because this is a Chinese technique, that while you're unconscious, manipulating the sutures, the plates on your skull, in such a manner can change the way you think. Because the sutures represent a kind of power line of conductivity for thought. They're the ones that qualify the ambient energies that are around your head. The sutras do that in relationship to the holographic matrix of thinking that you have inside your head. And the flow of energy around your brain is based upon how those sutras are placed. The Chinese know how to change the plates and get you mind controlled. And they learned how to